All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are two men in black and white, an honest conversation. And wow, I just love California. I'm thinking about moving to California, man. Has the number, if it was a country, would be the fourth largest economy in the world. Things are rolling in California. I know they're having a tough time after the fires and all the damage, but they got a great leader. They got Governor Newsom. And Governor Newsom is definitely bringing the heat. He is lighting Trump's ass up left and right. Their Twitter feed is absolutely bonkers. It's the best follow on Twitter right now. Let me bring in Brock Ganeles from the lovely confines of the Hudson River Valley, just north of New York City. The Uptown Point Guard joins us now with a closer look. Brock, Governor Newsom. I mean, things are beyond dire already. We got Chuckles cussing in videos saying no fucking way to the Republicans. Hakeem Jeffries pulling a little sack out and going after your boy, Mr. Lawler. But Gavin Newsom on a regular is just throwing haymakers at the Trumpster, and he can't stand it.
What did he go at it? What did he hit him with today? I didn't see today's or even yesterday's.
Yeah, today they're hitting them with the Epstein files. You know, they're asking Cash Patel questions. I mean, they've got great retorts. They're talking today about the judge blocking Trump's attempt to take over the National Guard. You know, they're saying democracy barely hanging on. It's time to speak up. Let it be known that you do not want U.S. military in American cities. So, they've got great comebacks, great barbs. They got a picture of a prescription bottle, and the prescription is Newsom derangement syndrome. Take one tablet daily. I mean, it is hilarious. And not only is it hilarious, it's true, and they go after him on the issues like Trump's mysterious hospital visit, right? Why? Where's Jake Tapper? Jake, where you at, bro? You should be following the caravan right into Walter Reed and letting us know chapter and verse, just how dire the president's health actually is. Got these big black spots on his hands, I mean, and plus we thought he was superhuman for a moment when his ear got blown off and it grew back like a salamander. Remember that? I mean, that ear grew back with what? A week? And it didn't show any signs of damage.
Well, yeah, it is interesting that there was a second annual checkup in the year, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I guess they're
That sounds
biannual or is
biannual to
it
me.
semi-annual or biannual? I always get those two things mixed up. Um, and the other thing is, look, there's a reason why they tried to muzzle Colbert, why they got Colbert fired, tried to muzzle Kimmel, is because comedians cut through, and laughter is the enemy of the despot, right? There's a reason. I say this all the time that Winnie the Pooh is banned in China because they were making fun of Xi for looking like Winnie the Pooh,
Yep.
right? And you can't
Yep.
laugh at the autocrats. So the fact that Newsom's team mocks Trump, it pokes away at the strength and the intimidation, and it
Yeah.
just allows for the foolishness to play its way through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they might have been going at him today on the fact that we've invited the Qataris in to have a U.S. Air Force base. I mean, I just keep wondering how, just the whole idea of how our racism and xenophobia butts up against our corruption, right? So
Yeah.
Qatar can pay off Trump with a tricked out plane and can throw some shekels into his bank account, and all of a sudden they're getting flying lessons in F-15s.
Right.
I mean, the last time they took the flying lessons, right? We ended up with 9/11. I don't want to come across racist, but we can't But I mean,
Racist if it's true.
are they like really are they like tight allies of the U.S. now that we're welcoming them into the borders? Like it just, I know MAGA world's going a little bonkers on this because this is like a fourth or fifth thing in a row that Trump's done that's just totally anti-MAGA, right? We wiped out the farmers,
Right.
you know.
Uh,
Now
you know, Brock, how can we let the Qataris um, how can we give them any kind of military training? right? Like it flies in the face of everything every racist in America stands for, right? You know, the fact that they're fucking loaded, got more money than they know what to do with, should be an even bigger signal to not allow them into, the friendly confines of our airspace and access to the kinds of technology that we have. Because all they have to do is see what it is, and then they can go buy it, right? Because that's what they want to know. What should they have?
Yeah, buy
And
it, build it, but the expertise of how to properly fly these,
right,
it's just kind of an amazing one. So Newsom's team didn't get to that yet, right? They're probably warming probably warming that up in the
sure they're
bullpen,
coming.
because there's so many other things, the failing health, the dementia, that absurd press conference they had with Bondi, the breaking
Yeah.
down of all rule of law in indicting Comey and then Letitia James and having a hit list behind it. Like they just
And this
the
one,
list goes on.
yeah, Brock, this one slipped in, past me last night. Trump just said the quiet part out loud. We'll be making cuts that will be permanent, and we're only going to cut Democrat programs. Really? Is that all you're cutting? The Democrat programs? And, Governor Newsom's press office says disgusting. The president should work on behalf of all Americans, not punish people for exercising their constitutional rights. Again, that's a concept that is, MAGA's here. These concepts are up here.
Yeah, it's in
The Constitution, it's way over their head, way out of their league.
that ties hand in hand with the enemy within, right? So we're all
Right,
just the enemy within. Like
right,
we voted against them. Like I'm an enemy, I voted against them. I'm an
right,
enemy twice because the state that I live in was won by Kamala Harris, right? So
right.
now I guess,
Double whammy.
now I'm online
Right,
criticizing Trump. So, we're just going to have a list of ways to become a Trump enemy, right? It's pretty easy.
right.
And it's most of us. It's the majority
Yes,
of us.
yes. And Governor Newsom, was out in front of his new legislation for transitional preschool learning, transitional pre-K to bolster literacy. California has some of the finest educational institutions in the world, right? And the governor is trying to grow that as opposed to tear it down, as we should be, where that flies in the face, of what the Trumpster is doing. So, I mean, this is the I start with Gavin Newsom today because this is the kind of effort and energy we need on a daily basis from all our governors and all our Congress people and senators. We need to be swinging as hard as we can at this guy on every front. And, everybody knows, Trump does not want to reopen the government, right? Because then things go back to normal and we go back to release the files. Right? Brock, what did I tell you a couple months ago? Shit wasn't going away. Didn't I tell you that? Didn't
You
I
did.
didn't I say that? This is going to be what gets this fucking guy. Pedophilia is one thing even MAGA doesn't want to stand for. Right? And these clowns in Congress running around trying to duck the question, you know, I know they're sick to their stomach. And I am hoping and praying that what Swalwell said yesterday that you reported on is so true. Please let it be true. And please let it happen. Please let these Republicans jump ship and just turn their back on this lunatic. This guy belongs in an insane asylum, right? Oh, we don't have those anymore. He belongs in prison, right? That's where you
Well,
put
yeah.
crazy people.
Well, they got a problem, right? Because they have this Arizona congresswoman elect who's just waiting to get sworn in. And so Johnson can't open the doors to congressional offices
Nope.
and not swear in this
Nope.
congresswoman from Arizona. So you can't get away with it. So they can't have sessions without her going forward, right? The Dems will just should refuse to walk in the doors, right?
Yep.
Because it's
It's a
then
joke.
there'll be a lawsuit, right? And then it'll go to the Supreme Court because I don't, and MAGA would lose that one because there's no way the Supreme Court is going to uphold the fact that the speaker's not going to allow a congressperson to be sworn in. I
Right.
mean, that's just no
Just can't
represent
do it.
no representation like that
Yeah.
unless they're just going to say no. Well, we've abolished the democracy, right?
Right.
Because that's really what they would be saying in that moment.
Right. And that's what they want to say.
Yeah,
Right. They know
they
they
don't
just
just
can't.
want to say it directly. They just want to let it erode without an announcement.
Right. One of my favorites yesterday was the meme that said, had a nice picture of Gavin Newsom. He's a good looking dude, no homo. But he said, the caption reads, Trump explodes with rage after Gavin Newsom wins Nobel Peace Prize. You got a picture of Gavin Newsom. I mean, classic. It's just classic. And Trump, you know how much time he spends on Twitter. So your boy's heated. You know your boy is heated up. Nonetheless, we've got so much shit going on. And that's the problem with the Trumpster. He lives in this world of chaos. So he's always got something else going on. So his scatterbrain scatters everyone else, right? Where everyone wants to focus on the Epstein files, he's got the QATARI'S coming. He's got this coming. He's got that going on, right? So there's so many different things that he's fucking with that we can't laser in on one particular area and just torch his ass.
Well, he's doing things that are really starting to enrage MAGA, that's the part I find interesting. Not that he's like, the libtards, right? And he's like pissing off us, right? Doing shit that we know we hate. But I kind of got to thinking about something you said yesterday about the economic cost of racism. Mm-hmm. And you talked about like kind of the decision that, America has made to be racist and the trillions of dollars that it cost in the study. Got me to thinking about, roll with me on this for a second. Like they have that McDonald's index or the Big Mac index, I think, of what a Big Mac costs in different regions and different times based on inflation.
Right.
I actually think in America, for MAGA, there's the N-word index.
Yes.
And the N-word index is how much is a MAGA, a rank and file MAGA, willing to give up out of their own well-being in order to be allowed to be racist and say the N-word. Yeah. So we've already established that they're willing to give up the farm. They're willing to give up food assistance. Mm-hmm. They're willing to give up their health care.
And their jobs.
Their jobs and their health care. These are all things that they'll vote. They're willing to give up disaster relief. Certainly, they're willing to give up spending on education.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I could add one more. But those are 7 pretty fundamental things in their lives that they're willing to, quote, vote against.
Yeah. Well,
clean water and fresh air. They're willing to vote against that. They're willing to vote against all of those things.
I would say safe air travel, but they don't fly.
Yeah, they don't fly. And in turn, they're willing to give the oligarchs and elites of their movement are allowed to get all the money. So all the wealth can transfer to very few people. They don't need any of these things.
Yeah.
As long as they can have their racism.
Yeah.
And that's to me that's the Big Mac index of American racism, the N-word index. So whenever anyone talks about kitchen table issues, I just want to make sure that it's clear that MAGA is bringing their racism to the kitchen table and weighing that against all the other things being discussed. Whether they can afford their prescription drugs, their insulin, whether they can buy food this week, whether they can pay the rent, or do they get to keep their racism?
Right. And Brock, whether or not they're still alive, did you see this military-grade explosive facility that blew up? There's nothing left of it. You think OSHA's coming out there to investigate?
Exactly. No, those terrible regulations. Less government. Government, capitalism, let it go. You don't want government stand in the way of business. There was a job creator that owns that plant. And hey, if you put some restrictions on there that you can't have the open flame next to the gasoline tank, well, geez, that could cost the business. That may cost jobs.
Exactly. And if you blow up, you just re-rack it like Wile E. Coyote and you come back tomorrow. You wipe the soot off your face like Wile E. Coyote and you're back in the next episode.
And they're back and they're still going to go for Marsha Blackburn, right? Because she's going to give the survivors of the dead are still going to have their racism. So they're still going to go out and vote for Marsha Blackburn because they're a red state and they don't want those pesky regulations that could possibly stand in the way of that business owner making his hundreds of millions so he can buy another yacht.
Right.
As long as they get their N-word.
Right. And it's sad but true, man. And think about it, bro. I don't know if you follow Tizzy ENT on the gram, but he is amazing. So every time you have one of these lunatics, a Karen or a Ken, break into one of these racist tirades and attack people's cars and do all this dumb shit, Tizzy ENT spotlights him. And he throws him up there, and he goes to whatever city they're from. Hey, if you're from Springfield, Virginia, we want to know who this guy. Man, 10 times out of 10, they catch the fucking guy. Guy loses his job. The woman loses his job. She gets fired, and you're made to look like an absolute jackass because he gets tens of thousands of regrams and followers and likes. It gets tens of thousands of likes. People, reposting it. And they always find the person within a day.
Yeah, but that person gets fired because the business owner has decided that the degradation of the brand of having a raging racist as a part of the company is bad for their business because they actually want to sell to libtards like me and to people of color. So they've decided that they're going to lose the business. They're going to get boycotted like Target if they are known that they allow that kind of raging racist asshole as a part of their business. So in a way, that's not even cancel culture, right? Or maybe that is what cancel culture is, which is why cancel culture, I don't see why it's so bad. Like, cancel culture means if you're a raging asshole, you actually have ramifications for being an asshole. There's actually a cost to it. Well, if there wasn't a cost to it, then probably everyone would do it, right? I mean, that's kind of what keeps us in line very often, right? We don't drive 140 on the highway because there might be a cost to getting pulled over.
Right.
So that's not, it's, so the whole, I've always wondered and felt it weird, this whole cancel culture argument. I just don't understand it. People aren't being killed. Doesn't mean they can't repent, improve, apologize. And ask for another chance and maybe have it be a teachable moment in their lives.
Right.
It just means they suffer a setback because they were a raging public asshole.
Yep. So
Tizzy E, I'll look for Tizzy E today.
Yeah, I'll
I was not on board. I was Tizzy E's yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at Hegseth sitting next to the Qatari leader as they're sitting here getting ready to spend what they do, a $5.5 billion golf resort deal with Trump and then gave him a jet. So is this the payoff? The Qataris can come to Idaho. I wonder how the people of Idaho feel about that.
Yes, that clearly appears to be the payoff. So it seems to be a pretty clear quid pro quo.
Sure.
You mean the welcoming people of Idaho that I just spent some time with out in Boise, where the swastika on the sidewalk, Idaho, where I was told Boise was actually an oasis, and that the reason why there's an Anne Frank Center in Boise is because there's so many neo-Nazis, particularly in northern Idaho, that they felt the need to embrace a World War II young girl as sort of a touchstone to try to calibrate people into some semblance of tolerance. I think they'll be very welcoming to the Qataris cruising around the neighborhood.
With wearing their traditional gear?
Yeah, with the traditional gear. I think even if they open up a mosque on the corner, I think the northern Idaho folk would be very, very welcoming.
Yeah.
And I can see them. I can see people knocking on the door, bringing over, a fruit cake and welcoming them to the neighborhood.
Yeah, not so much, huh? Somehow I don't think that's gonna fly. But call me crazy. I've seen crazier things that haven't worked out either. But look, we're right back where we started with the doing the shit out in public. Hegseth is sitting there like he's got some fucking huge major diplomatic event, involving the Department of War. You didn't do shit. We don't even know if you're clean and sober yet, fucking loser. How many times, Brock, he's gonna go down in history as the first, Secretary of Defense that had to get clean first before he could take the position.
And he's a Christo-fascist, right? He got the crazy tattoos. He's so far to the right. He's plucked right out of the three percenters.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he's like sort of the welcoming committee for
Anything.
global Muslim relations.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Qataris are practical. They don't give a shit. They're just cutting checks to get more military might. So they're just looking out for their own self interest. I don't blame them for what they're doing. They're playing Trump for the corrupt, useful idiot that he is. They know all they have to do is cut checks and they can get America to do whatever they need us to do. And the
Yep.
American public are along for the ride.
And that's all it is, man. And, you know, speaking of going along for the ride, one of Trump's best and biggest tools, he's basically, well, he's a lapdog because he has to be. But Hot Wheels, the Texas governor, is calling for the removal of rainbow crosswalks in Texas. And he calls them a safety issue.
Come on, he's months late. DeSantis already pulled that shit in Florida. Like
Right.
Abbott's just getting around to that now. All right, good. Wipe them out. And you know what they did in Florida overnight? They went in and they spray painted them back
Put it
again. And
right
like,
back on
okay,
there.
yeah, put it
Love
right
it.
back on there.
I love it.
Okay, they're just looking for the pettiest, stupidest shit they can throw at the MAGAs, those
Yeah.
MAGAites who then will just put that as a part of their kitchen table racism,
Right.
and they don't have to give them food assistance, or they don't have to have sirens next to the river so that it doesn't overflow and kill their children next time. So this way they can just tell them that don't worry about it. You're safe now because
Right.
we got the color off the sidewalk.
Right.
Sorry, all your daughters died in the flood that we didn't give a fuck about. But
Right.
now you're safe because we cleaned up that crosswalk.
Yeah, and the water won't come down as fast next time. Fucking
Yeah,
idiots.
and our head of FEMA won't be out of pocket for 48 hours.
Right. But let's continue gerrymandering and doing that kind of stuff just so we have that done. Let's continue to cheat so that ghouls like us can stay in power. You know, it's absolutely disgusting that these people can fucking sleep at night. I mean, I guess they already realize that there's a special place in hell waiting for them. There is no way that they can think they're going to see, the good Lord.
No, I think they either truly believe or convince themselves to believe or act as if they believe that this America is a white Christo-fascist nation and that's how it was formed. And this whole push to multicultural, multiracial is ruining America, and that, it's their job to re-whiten it up, back to quote the way it was. I think they sleep at night because they really believe that, and that is what drives them. I mean,
Right.
I just hope and think that 60% plus of us don't feel that way. I kind of think it might even be more than that, but
Yeah.
because we're so silent and docile and inactive, we don't know how big a movement we have.
Well, Brock, we're busy. We got soccer games this weekend. We got ice skating lessons, swim lessons coming up. We've got that trip we've been saving for next year to the Greek Isles. We're busy. Busy, can't get involved.
Can't
You
get
know,
involved.
Brock, how many people have we asked to appear on our podcast who
No one
said,
wants to.
politics? Why
No
you
one
guys,
wants to.
you guys don't want to talk about sports? I'll come on and talk about the Knicks. Brock, I can count off my head. My memory's going, playing tricks on me. I can count a dozen people that I've asked. What's the topic?
I'm always like, when are you coming on the pod? Come on the
Yeah,
pod and say that. Let's talk
right.
about that on the pod. And then like, whoop, gotta go. Hey, got another call coming in. Didn't realize,
Yeah,
whoop.
busy every day that ends
You
in
guys go
Y.
do that.
Yeah,
There's a great quote out there. It's something about like what really allows authoritarian movements to work is all the people that say, "Oh, I don't pay attention to the news. It just depresses me." And
right.
it's that apathy, that quote, "I don't pay attention to the news," that allows all this negative news to just work its way through America
Yep.
without pushback, because all these people are like, "Oh, it's too negative. That's a bummer. That hurts my vibe to think about all the Latinos being thrown in cages. I can't watch. The
Exactly.
news is so depressing. It's so negative. They're taking food away from kids. They cancel school lunches. That just that. I can't talk about that. Yeah, okay. You don't talk about it, then the worst people win.
Yeah. Every time. Look, all we have to do is look at the history, right? All the history buffs have told us, folks, this is the authoritarian playbook. They started it back during Trump 1.0, telling us that this is what authoritarians do. Right? We believed it for 20 minutes and voted Biden in. And then we forgot. So,
Price of eggs.
Authoritarianism, black women. Let me see. Ooh. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to go in and exercise my constitutional right and pull the lever for the person I think is best qualified.
Or not show up. They're both the same. All the parties are the same. Or I hate all politicians, or I hate politics. Oh, I don't want to get involved in politics. I'm not a political person, as if that's like a positive statement they're making about themselves. Oh, I'm not political. Of course you're fucking political. You live in society. Politics is the outgrowth of society. You are by nature, you're political based on the fact that you are here. There's no such thing as being apolitical. You make a political act when you pay your taxes. You make a political act when you stop at a stop sign, right? Because you're playing by society's rules. Oh, who put those rules in place? Fucking politicians. Stop signs just didn't grow out of the ground. It was a law that was put in place.
And Brock, you're a politician. You're making a political act when you bought that beautiful home in the suburbs with the high property taxes. Where do your property taxes go, jackass? Oh, it says school taxes, right? The government put that in place so you can have really nice resources for little Jack and Joni to go to high school, but you don't want to talk about it.
And they decide what classes that are available to Jack and Johnny, and what books are in the library, and how the history is taught. Like, you can't pretend politics determines all of these things. You can't pretend you're not political. It's thrust upon you. It's a part of being a citizen in the world. So it's all bullshit. But that's the apathy, and that's the comfortable, safe American, mostly white, that has the luxury of not voting and has the luxury of saying that they're not political because they haven't been oppressed, right? Once you've been oppressed, you're by nature political because now you're aware. Shit, who's in charge makes a big fucking difference in my life, and it might be life and death to me. Yeah. So then you start caring about who's in charge instead of saying like all politicians are the same. Right. How can you possibly believe all politicians are the same? You really believe Bill Clinton and like Ronald Reagan were the same? Come on.
Get out of here.
Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy were the same? Come on. Like
People don't realize
it's a stupid statement.
Yes, they don't realize how stupid they sound when they say it, bro. Bottom line. All right, Brody. Quick hit for me. What do you got?
Fucking Melania is in talks with Putin and has been for months. I mean, stop the fucking bullshit. I mean, seriously? You think Putin's not just playing this situation once again, and somehow Melania is on the front lines, the great humanitarian that she is, that she has some kind of fucking official role in any way, shape, or form?
As what?
And she's in direct communication with our fucking enemy,
our arch enemy,
who's attacking our ally and has for years.
Yeah.
And I got to read about that fucking horse shit. And am I gonna have to fucking hear about how she's up for a Nobel fucking Peace Prize?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, seriously.
I don't think so. She can't spell it, first of all. But she can do it in 6 languages. That's what the maggots always tell us. What a fucking joke. Brock, gosh, that's depressing.
And the fact that story's framed as if this is she's some fucking hero riding in on a white horse and saving like Ukrainian children. Meanwhile, her fucking husband, basically has sold out Zelensky so many fucking times we can't even count.
Right.
How many Ukrainians have died because of fucking Trump's lack of fucking support and allyship for a democracy in Europe, and yet we're supposed to believe Melania is on the side saving children's lives, right? that's on the heels of having to read about what a fucking hero Jared is for fucking solving Middle East peace, right? After fucking soaking every dollar he could out of that. So like once again, it all comes back to the press and an epic fail by the media and getting played by these fucking liars and clowns.
Yeah.
So that's my like aggravating moment du jour that I had to like see that headline.
And Brock, they're going right along with it because it's all about the money. The media is nothing but, a cash-driven enterprise. It's all about they don't give a fuck what they have to do in order to make money, right? Because remember, they never had any competition until the 80s when cable TV came along, and then the profit margin started shrinking and steadily shrinking. By the time 2000 rolled around, and we got these computers and shit you could do online, 200 channels from satellite and cables, now they're fucked. So what do you have to do in order to keep making money? Play along with the fucking ghouls in office.
But I can't help connecting the dots between Melania's fucking this hype about Melania talking to Putin, the fact that this Melania documentary is about to come out on Amazon Prime, that's coming down the pipe, to the fact that Bezos' Washington Post, right, has turned to the right, and Bezos, one of the oligarchs, wants Trump off his ass so his company can build massive data centers like all the tech companies are doing that are soaking up, they want deregulation on all these massive fucking data centers so they can be the kings of AI that's soaking up all the power from the grids and cranking up the price of electricity for everyday Americans everywhere in the country. But fuckers like Bezos want to be able to build these data centers all over the fucking place. And it's Bezos and Ellison and Zuckerberg and Musk and Peter Thiel, right? It's all these same fuckers.
Yep.
Oligarchs are going to own these data centers so they can own AI, but the everyday American sitting there at their fucking kitchen table wondering why their price of electricity is skyrocketing. So I'm starting with the Melania story today, and 6 to 8 degrees of separation later, I'm getting back to the fact that people's electricity prices are going up.
Yes, sir. All right, buddy. That's it for us. We're out of here today. Let's rack it up and do it again tomorrow. These people are really on my fucking nerves.
All right, Mark. Enjoy Pittsburgh.
Yes, indeed. Will do. I'm right next to the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins. They had a game last night. They won a big one against the Islanders. So a lot of excitement down in the lobby last night.
Sidney Crosby, man. He's like in his, 20th year? Sid the Kid no more, but still in the league?
Yeah, Sid the Kid, Chris Letang, and Gino. They've been together 20 years, man.
Wow.
So, good times.
That's rare. That's actually rare in sports, right? To have teammates together that long. That's pretty amazing in this day and age of in this age of free agency. That's really rare.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
See you tomorrow. Enjoy. Talk to you tomorrow, Mark.